Hey guys, Ash your Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. Glad to have you all here with me today. Today we're going to do a guide on Elder Skarg. I feel like this one has been a long time coming, and so do you guys, because we have a bunch of requests for this old school champion who received a big buff actually a couple of years ago, and he's actually pretty dang solid and unique. So I'm excited to talk about him today. First off, a massive shout out to Skew. Skew9879 gave a $10 donation. I really appreciate that, man. Elder Skarg, remember an old video you did talking about how underrated he was on the main channel? Couldn't find it. Please keep up the content. We'll talk about that today, man. And thank you again for the donation. I really appreciate it. We have an Elder Skarg request from Bajanti, Jammy Dodger, Banaji. I'm never going to get your name right, man, but a lot of requests. I'm not going to read them all, but thank you so much to everybody out there keeping the champion guide requests coming here on the channel. You give me all my best ideas, right? As I always say. Let's go ahead and take a look at Elder Skarg. So Elder Skarg is a barbarian. He's a Force Affinity legendary barbarian. He looks pretty cool. You know, he's got the cape. He's got the I guess the desert armor motif going on. He looks like an elder. He's got the big white beard as well. He's an attack-based champion with a boatload of attack, 1630 base attack. His speed is solid at 105. His survivability is meh. His HP is okay. His defense is pretty low at 870. On the Tide of Steel A1 ability, attacks one enemy, places the big version of increased speed on this champion's for 2 turns if the attack is critical. Oh, that's so nice to have in his kit. It's such an underrated part of his kit. So basically, my man is almost always rocking the big version of increased speed at all times because he has it on 2 turns on his A1 ability. It's 100%, land rate on himself. There's no percentages. No books need to go into this. If the attack is not critical, he gets an increased crit rate instead. On the A2, Hunt the Marked. Another unique ability here. Attacks one enemy 3 times, places an extra hit for each buff or debuff on the target, can place up to 3 extra hits, so we get 6 hits off of this ability, places an HP burn debuff for 2 turns, and a True Fear debuff for 1 turn on all enemies if the attack places all 3 extra hits, steals all buffs from the target after the attack. So holy moly, he's doing a lot on this one ability, right? We get 3 up to 6 hits. We get True Fear on everybody if we place all the hits. We get a burn as well, and then we steal all the buffs from the target after the attack. Really good ability. Can be one of the hardest hitting abilities, single target in the game, if you pull off all 6 extra hits, or all 3 extra hits, 6 total. His A3 is also insane. Elder's Clarion. An increased defense on this champion for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. So again, now we get the increased speed and the increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. Plays a fear on all enemies for 1 turn. True Fear for 1 turn on targets under block damage. A little weird, but who cares? We have it, right? Either way, we get the fear. Fear is a 50% chance of losing their turn and not putting the skill on cooldown. The True Fear is a 50% of losing their turn and the skill will be put on cooldown. Plays a decreased speed for 2 turns on targets under shield buffs. Okay, awesome, right? These debuffs cannot be resisted. Does not require accuracy. Also, places a Provoke debuff on legendary champions for 1 turn. Holy mackerel, this is a lot in one ability. It's insane. Increased defense on himself forever, 3 turns. A fear on everybody can't be resisted. True Fear if they're under block damage. Decreased speed on everybody under shield. A provoke on all legendaries. And then on his Kingslayer passive, 15% less damage from legendaries. Inflicts damage equal to this champion's attack when attacked by legendary champions. The extra hit cannot be critical. So our attack here, it scales very well. I think we have like 6,500 attack in today's build. So every time he's attacked, he's going to be doing 6,500 damage to everybody who attacks him. A lot of people forget that he has this like really nasty passive as well. Increase ally crit rates in arena battles by 30%. Not the best aura unless you want to build a team specifically around him. I don't think it's necessarily worth it, but it's an option there. Everybody having 70% crit rate and then just jacking up their crit damage, their ignore defense, etc. All right, so good old Elder Skarg. Looks like we can empower him again as well. I have him in Stone Skin one piece. and in crit damage, okay? I think that Lethal and Savage make a lot of sense on this guy. Perception, triple perception sets make a lot of sense. Having a 4-piece stone skin for the arena plus a perception set is great. Now, I say perception, keep in mind the debuffs on the A3 cannot be resisted. So accuracy is nice, but it's not as essential as you might think just reading his kit. Now, and on the A2, though, that True Fear is in the HP burn, does require accuracy, so we still want it on this champion. That's why perception can be useful here. But again, Savage or Lethal, probably the most popular ways to build him, or a combination, you know, of Stone Skin and Savage and Lethal if you can get the gear. Merciless gear works really well on him too. He's a nuker, so crit damage, all that stuff. Cruelty is going to work as well. All right, so we have attack on the ring. We have crit damage on the amulet. We do have defense on the banner. His defense is so dang low, and he's bringing an increased defense anyway, the big version, on himself at all times. So I figured might as well try to scale that up a little bit on the banner. It's not essential. You can just absolutely min-max his attack for harder nukes out of that A2 if you want to, and just go attack on the banner as well. Or you can go with accuracy on that banner to land the debuffs on the A2 ability. We have speed on the boots. We have attack percentage on the chest, and we have crit rate on the gauntlets here. Obviously, crit damage on the gauntlets is going to serve you better in the end game. But, you know, I decided we'd switch things up a little bit here. I was able to actually get some nice crit damage, a little bit on the Ascension, a little bit on the Amulet as well on the Ascension stat. So we still have 226 crit damage with crit rate on the gauntlets. Not too bad. And we're able to build them with a decent amount of attack and speed as well. So the build's not the best in the game ever. It's also not the worst. For a blessing, we have Soul Reap on him today. I have him at 5 stars. So that 14% target HP threshold is pretty useful. 50% chance of placing True Fear on for 1 turn if they survive the Reaper. So we're kind of doubling down on that True Fear and Fear control that is so, I guess, fundamental to his kit to begin with. Other blessings, though, obviously are going to be Cruelty, are going to be Crushing Rend. You could go Brimstone for PvE. You could go Phantom Touch on this dude as well. I think those are the best options to consider for Elder Skarg. We're going to be utilizing him mainly in the arena, so we have a very arena kind of centered build today, but of course it will work anywhere. These are old Masteries. I have not changed these since, 3 or 4 years ago, but they're still fine, right? On the offensive side of things, we kind of went with a little bit of an arena build here. I'm not sure if I love Ruthless Ambush on this champion, to be frank with you guys. You know what, let's just redo. Do I want to pay I don't think I want to pay the gems to reset. Let's see what hellhades.com recommends. Nothing wrong with this build. I don't mind coming down with Helm Smasher. I don't mind going support tree exactly how he went. We don't really benefit much from Lore of Steel in this particular build. But as I said, it's kind of old. Let's see what they rate him first of all, and then we'll take a look at the Masteries. So overall, a 4 out of 5, a very high score on hellhades.com. His area ratings, man, Spider, normal, this guy just crushes, especially up to stage 20. He has the True Fear on all the Spiderlings. He has a ton of damage as well. Just really, really, really solid for Spider. He can just nuke down the Spider with the A2 ability as well. Ice Golem hard. If you can keep him alive, he does great work there. Can CC the minions, do a lot of damage again, and bring the burn as well. We have... let's see, Frost Spider, a 5 out of 5. Eternal Dragon, a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, this guy has good scores basically all over the place. Any wave content, this guy's great. In the arena, a 4 out of 5 as well. We have a 3 multiplier on his A1, a single target hitter. We have a triple hitter at a 2 per hit. But again, that can be a 6-time hitter. So essentially a 12 multiplier if you add it all up, right? That's a lot. It gives a godlike damage rating. And then on the passive, I mean, it's just his attack, right? So it's hard to say if it's a lot or not. But either way, it's really nice to have. General PvE build, they recommend going with Giant Slayer. So this is definitely a weird champion in terms of what tier 6 do we want to go with. In the arena, I would go with Helm Smasher. If you're guaranteed that you're going to be placing with this dude, if you think you're going to be consistently placing at least 4 hits, at least 1 buff or debuff on that A2, I think it'd probably be best to go with Giant Slayer, right? Otherwise, he has a one-time hitter on his A1, so War Master, there was a debate way back in the day, Giant Slayer or War Master. I think that Giant Slayer did win out, especially if you can consistently land those hits on that A2 ability. But of course, either way, I've seen built on this champion. For crowd control in the arena, they recommend going down and picking up the Eagle Eye. I personally probably would not go the crowd control method. I would just go general PvE, and then I would make that decision between the 3 tier 6s. But I do like, one more time, I'll show you on Hell Hades. I do like what they recommend here. Instead of the masteries that I showed you, going down the left-hand side, picking up Life Drinker, I think it's a better option for you guys nowadays inside the game. Obviously, go Lower Steel if you need it. Go Master Hexer, extend the duration of all those debuffs that he's bringing, at least some of the debuffs that he's bringing. Sans the True Fear and Fear. All right, so we talked about Blessing. We talked about everything. Is he worth booking? Absolutely. The nice thing about these books is that you go right to the A3, right to the cooldown. On the A2, it's just damage. On the A1, it's just damage. But that A3, man, getting that to a 3 turn, maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe the 2 books will go right to the A3. Who knows, right? But once you book that out, I would stop with the books, right? I don't think it's essential to, book out the A1 totally, the A2 totally. I mean, you do get 30% extra damage, so I guess there's that. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and try this dude out. What do you say? So I was just messing around in Cursed City against the Eternal Dragon. I just have him on kind of an ally attack team with Sun Wukong as well. Man, it's actually a pretty solid team, and he can help out in so many different areas, right? So we're going to lead off with just the A3. Obviously, we can't, buff or debuff the Eternal Dragon here. But what we can do is set him up with an increased defense. That way he doesn't die right away, right? So even when there's no obvious utility, there's still some utility on that ability, right? We're going to come in here. Nishak with all these bombs, obviously going to do the majority of the damage here. But now we have 3 debuffs. So now we're going to be able to place all 3 extra hits on the A2 ability. So here it comes. It's so fast, too. You can barely see all 6 hits. Boom! Machine gun style, right? It adds up to be a decent amount. Now, this is an area where instead of the Giant Slayer, this would absolutely benefit us. And you can see the increased speed that he has on himself. Really nice, right? This is an area that it would benefit us to have that Giant Slayer. It would do quite a bit more of damage on that A2 when it hits 6 times. But in the arena, I prefer what we have right now. So now we have the minions of the Eternal Dragons. We can go ahead and use the A3 ability again. And boom, they're all feared. Beautiful, right? We refresh the increased defense at the same time. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and land a weaken on the Eternal Dragon. Come in here and with the A2 again. 6 hits in a row. A lot of damage with the HP burn. I mean, it's quite an easy threshold, especially nowadays in the game, to be able to go in there and just get 3 buffs or debuffs, right? I mean, there's so many buffs and debuffs in so many areas of the game that it's not hard to do anymore, Not hard to do at all. Let's go ahead and try to finish things with A1. Close. There we go. Soul Reap. Almost. But you can see that he's going to, behind Nishak, maybe some Wukong. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, dude, he outdamaged Nishak, Vermin Lord, and Sun Wukong on that team. Really, really solid, right? He deals a lot of damage with that A2 ability. It's really insane. All right, let's go to Faction Wars really quickly here. Actually, you know what? I was going to show you this Faction War team. I just ran the team. It's not that exciting. He just goes in there and does more damage than anybody else. He's a great DPS, right? And he's great. You know what I will show you really quickly, because we didn't see it there in that last battle? I will show you just how unbelievable he is as a control/damage dealer, right? He goes in there with that 3-turn cooldown. He fears everybody. Then he does a ton of damage with his A2, just one at a time, just killing everybody, right? And then he has, keep in mind, on that A2 ability, he also has the control there too. So it's not just about the A3. It's really solid. He really does bring so much to the table, And then against legendaries, keep in mind, he has the provoke as well, right? So he's got fears or true fears on both abilities, both active abilities, A2, A3. And then he's got the provoke on the A3 as well against legendaries, man. I mean, that's nasty. This guy's bringing a ton of control and a ton of damage. I really like this guy, man. He's definitely underrated in my opinion here, right? As the commenter said at the top of the video, he's just, gosh, he does a lot, right? Just got to keep him alive, right? That's the only thing. All right, so we take care of those man-eaters before they make this an especially annoying run and cause me to have to cut halfway through. He's basically killing everybody with all of his abilities. Going against level 248 mobs, nice and easy, right? Now we have the minions, obviously, to the red boss. We start out by going with the A3. We have the increased defense. We go in there. Everybody's feared. Fantastic. And then as soon as we start stacking up some debuffs onto the red boss as well, it's going to be the same thing, just repeat it again, right? It's going to be 6 freaking hits with the HP burn on that A2 ability, and it'll start really racking up the damage for us. And again, increased speed on the boss, fantastic, beautiful. The more buffs or debuffs, the better, right? We actually have War Maiden in a toxic set as well. So a lot of teams used to use Elder Skarg against old school clan boss, right? Demon Lord. He's actually really good against Demon Lord as well as your DPS on your speed tune team, right? And with the Demon Lord, heck, you're almost, no matter what team you're running, you're almost always going to have 3 debuffs on the Demon Lord. So he's going to be great in Clan Boss as well. Again, he kind of fits in as your flex DPS on so many teams, especially affinity-based if you're going against Force Affinity, Void Affinity, or Magic Affinity. So now we finally have things set up where the minions are down. I have a very kind of free-to-play friendly team here alongside him with War Maiden, obviously farmable campaign, Scylla Drakes, we get her for free, High Katoon, we get her for free, and Solmon Boyer, who's a rare, who's fantastic as well. I'm wondering who will do more damage, Elder Skarg or Soulbond. That was his A1, again, putting that increased speed on himself. I think he already had it from Scylla or from High Katoon, but either way, if he didn't, now he's got it. I want to see what he does with that A2 right now. We do have the decreased defense up there as well. Is that it? My bad. Is it the next ability? Let's see. Toxic Set. Guess it's the next one. But Toxic Set is a good idea for him as well, just to make sure that we're stacking up those debuffs if you need a little bit of a help, right? But it shouldn't be that tough. He went with the A3. I should have prioritized the A2 because he had it off cooldown there. But there we go. Soul Reap finishes things off. Hey, we got a speed glyph. Absolutely the most valuable thing in the entire game. Surprisingly, actually, War Maiden was second damage to Elder Skarg. So nice job, War Maiden there. All right, let's go in. Did I forget to put super raids on that? I think I did. Oops. Let's go into arena a little bit before we let you guys go. What's the perfect sort of arena team for this champion? Let me get a refresh here. Sorry, it's reset day today, so the teams aren't going to be amazing, but we'll be okay. So I have an Armon's team, I have Mithrala, I have Elder Skarg, and I have Fortis. So Fortis, all you need to know about him is he has this Astral Terrors. It's a secret skill, right? This skill has a 40% chance of being unlocked for 1 turn whenever a Fear or True Fear debuff is placed on an enemy. Well, what better companion for Elder Skarg than Fortis, right? He also has increased the chance of enemy skills failing by 15% when enemies are under Fear or True Fear. So all of a sudden, Elder Skarg gets a hell of a lot better, right? He can not only activate the secret ability of Fortis, but now he also is going to make all the Fears and True Fears more effective. Instead of a 50% chance of losing their turn, it's going to be a 65% chance of losing their turn. So they're great together. Bellatar Mageslayer, a champion that we actually just pulled in kind of my building a random team video. He's another option, probably a better option than Mithrala on this team, to be honest with you, because he's also a reviver. But basically, it's a go-first strategy. It's a go-first team. Everybody's built fairly fast, you know. We're going to go in there and... Okay, so now it's time to do the setup. I have Mithrala because she brings the increased attack for Elder Skarg and the increased defense for Fortis. We need both. That's why we're looking for a champion who brings both. So now we do have some CC, a stun, but why not go in there right now and land a Provoke and a True Fear on everybody, right? And what do you know? By placing the True Fears, we also unlock the Astral Terrors ability from Fortis, so now we can just nuke everybody for 180,000 damage because he's insane, right? Now, we are going against a Reviver here in Siegfried. It's okay. That's why we have good old Armand to turn him into a sheep, buy us a little bit of time, and then we can come in there and kill him before he's able to revive all of his comrades, or at least stun him, right? So this is the magic of a Fortis Elder Skarg combo. It's really, really fun. Let's do it again. A little bit of a tankier team here. They do have Torment as well, which is a little annoying, but let's see. Let's come in there and CC again. Could run like an Arbiter instead of an Armand's, obviously. Let's get rid of Leo. And then let's get the increased defense. And let's do the same thing here. Boom. CC everybody to death. Come in and Astral Terrors them. And again, man, that's a strong combo. This team they're just never going to get their legs under them again, really. And we have 3 debuffs. What do you know on the Reviver? Let's 6-time hitter. Boom. Doesn't even matter the affinity. Leo's going to get 1 shot. No, he's not. No, he's not. We're just going to keep sheeping him until we take care of the big tanky units here. But you know, this is actually so much fun that I could probably sit here and and play it for a few hours. But I think you guys get the gist of it. It's pretty awesome though, man. I mean, like, I have been rooting for, let's do one more. I've been rooting for Fear and True Fear to become a bit more of a viable strategy in the arena for so long, right? Because there's honestly a lot of cool Fear and True Fear champions out there in the game, like Elder Skarg. This just don't get a lot of love, right? Just don't get a lot of love. So they're going to get a cleanse on Mithrala, so we might be in trouble here. Actually, no, we're not in trouble. We can provoke her. We can provoke her. Hey, what do you know? Astral Terror is unlocked. Boom, big damage. There you go. That's it. And we have so much control on Duchess, the Reviver can't even kind of pick up the pieces, so to speak, of the enemy team. Let's go in there with 4 hits, done and done. So there you go, guys. That is Elder Skarg, a great all-around champion. We only highlighted a few areas that he can be used in the game, but suffice it to say, we mentioned a few more. This guy is a great and underrated all-around champion who can help you with damage, debuffs, control, you name it. Guys, thanks for watching till the end, and as always, take care, guys.